What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker and Airsoft Commando, and we are coming at you with our final review for historical board gaming's The Korean War. Overall, it's a fun game. It's definitely worth, I think it's definitely worth getting it for free from HBG and then going to your local print shop to get it printed out and to play it. The only thing, obviously, like both of us have been saying throughout this game, just the rules need a major update. Because some of the rules are inconsistent, incomplete, left up to interpretation. There's a lot here that does need to be fixed. However, again though, it is a fun game. Once you get through the minutia of trying to figure out the rules, it actually isn't bad. Just with a little bit of tweaking and a little updating, this could very well be this one could be a very fun addition to any of your gaming collections. Overall though, again, the things that I liked, even though it was a headache, like the supplies, especially again on a game that's more of a what do you want to call it? More, not quite a tactical level, more of an operational level game, not strategic or tactical. Like having supplies is very interesting. Being able to move your troops forward. However, I also think in some cases the supplies is a con. And this is something that we talk about that we might put in the updated version, that as long as you're non-combating in the territories that you own, you don't need to spend supply to move your forces. It's only when you're making combats that you need to spend the supplies. Other things I liked, let's see, what else was there? Shoot, I had a list. Like I said, supplies. Just the fact also that, like, just being able to play different nations. You know, after a while, you kind of get used to playing the United States, playing Great Britain, playing Germany, playing the Soviet Union. You know, playing your traditional Axis and Allies teams. And this one having a little bit more, this time having a little bit of a variety is definitely interesting. And I do like the tank and artillery rules that you can fire into a nearby territory as an attack, and you can even use it as a preliminary before you send in other ground forces into the attack. I do really like that. I do like that idea, and that's actually something I've always thought would have been fun to include in like an Axis and Allies D-Day game. Having your artillery be able to shoot into the neighboring territories to knock out German units before you go in on a ground assault. Things I didn't like, again, as I keep harping on it, the supply track. I get what they were going for, but it takes too long. It takes too long for the U.S. and the UN to get their ground forces into the game. I mean, it takes half the game to do it, and by then, had I not had the good luck in the final dice rolls, I mean, Airsoft Commando very much could have won this game, because he was just building up all around here, and it was the slow advance of the Allies moving forward was working very well in his favor. That's another thing too. I get why they took blitzing out, because in actuality, Korea is a very hilly, very mountainous country, though. From everything that I've read on like the Korean War and even like alternate histories written about Korea, they always talk about here in Western Korea how a lot of it is more flat, or at least flatter than Eastern Korea, which actually they always talk about how Western Korea is great tank territory. So I feel like at least on the western side of the map, you could have your tanks and mech infantry actually blitzing and going two spaces in this game. And I understand one thing that I didn't like, but I understand that supposedly, I mean, when this game came out, it was like 2008. So there weren't units like cruisers and tactical bombers yet, but that's something that I definitely want to incorporate in an updated version of this, as well as bringing in jets, especially because historical board gaming has a lot of great jet pieces. So I'd very much love to incorporate jets into this game because Korea was one of the, Korea was the first conflict to really heavily involve jets on both sides. What else? I think gameplay-wise, like, as far as me, I think I played pretty well. Like I said, I think that the luck I got in turn 11 and turn 12 are basically what won me the game. It was the dice rolls. It wasn't really anything else that... no great strategic planning on my part. I think a lot of it just fell to luck. And I'm happy that I won, but, and this was something that Airsoft Commando will touch on, is the fact about, like, doing amphibious assaults on the 12th turn. But, like I said, he'll touch on that. What else? Oh, but yeah, other than that, I think I played a okay game. There was definitely a lot that I messed up, especially, again, with supplies. Always remembering to move that forward. That really, supplies really threw me for a loop for most of the game. Just trying to really get a hold on that. But so those are my thoughts, and I will pass it over to Airsoft Commando for his few comments.
Hello. Sorry guys, give me a moment. I'm trying to find my notes that I had on where I put my units, but of course I can't find them. That's fine. So I know for the hidden Chinese units, I had put them in the Chosin Reservoir because wherever he landed here is pretty much adjacent. And I think I put the other ones either in Changlin or in Samsu. But most were in the Chosin Reservoir because most of the places he would land in were basically adjacent. And I was under the impression, I misunderstood, that the Allies land on a place bordering the Yalu River that would also trigger the Chinese. You notice, Pyongyang's a good example. Seoul, I did the same thing. Because I don't have a navy, I can't defend everywhere, especially with the supply situation. So what I ended up doing is taking Seoul and Pyongyang here, and I basically, like, circled the wagons. Wherever he'd land, I'd respawn, but I can't defend the coast. And that's why landing on turn 12 is something... landing on turn 12 outside of supporting an already ongoing ground attack is something we kind of agreed is not going to be a thing going forward, because there's nothing the North Koreans can do about it. It's just free territory. I made some huge mistakes, turn 11 especially. I moved forward when I shouldn't have, hoping to get a little more territory just to guarantee my win, and miscalculating how many troops he had on the field, as well as buying a bunch of aircraft, turn 11, hoping to finally put a stop to his bomber threat, and losing 4 fighters. Although that one is more of, I didn't know I was going to lose 4 fighters. That was a pretty crappy roll. That's all I really have. Because the South Korean peninsula is so narrow, you as a communist, your strategies are going to be far more limited in what you can do. Although with our new rules as far as supply, you will get a little bit more movement and freedom of movement as far as reinforcement and placement of troops. But your lack of IPC compared to the Allies is just, it's not going to make up for that. So keep that in mind. Overall, great game. I'll hand it back over to Red Bull here. We'll see what happens on the next one once we made our rule changes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely some good points. And yeah, like I said, like he said, being able to do amphibs on the last turn definitely kind of or seem kind of unfair for the communists. And yeah, the IPC disparity definitely hurts them as well. But
aircraft. On that note, aircraft going back to a normal defensive, because
yeah, bombers otherwise. So one thing for aircraft, especially fighters, fighters in this game, they attack on a 3, but also defend on a 3. And we were talking about going back to like Axis and like actual Axis and Allies, where you'll have your fighters defend on a 4, so they have a better chance on the defense than they do on the kind of on the offense. If that for
How
that.
much of my IPC was soaked just on bombing alone this game.
That's true.
And there's no point in going up to defend because I'm fighting on equal footing, and you had more fighters.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point. You were bleeding IPC from your factories, and it was not always a good idea to scramble because...
the max factory damage I'd pay is the same price as an airplane. So
Yeah.
unless I can guarantee kill, it's not worth it.
Right. But overall, overall, fun game. Few changes that are going to be made. Like, again, one that I can say, like, this is going away. What it'll probably end up being is that the U.S. and the UN will place their forces on this build plate here, but then they got to wait a turn to come into the game. So your turn 1 purchases will come into the game on turn 2, so on and so forth, going on from there. But yeah, overall, again, fun game. Really look forward to it. As far as what's coming next, not sure. Airsoft Commando and I and another friend are going to be going out to Gettysburg next week. We leave next week and we'll be gone for a week, so probably not the best time to start anything new. If anything, probably take that time to work on the updates. And then Airsoft Commander reminded me of something. China was kind of a disappointment because China never got into the game. Because again, the rules for China to come into the game, it's either the Allies take Pyongyang or they find the hidden Chinese infantry here in northern North Korea. We are thinking that what we might do is in future, China can get pulled into the game if North Korea holds Seoul for 3, maybe 4 turns consecutive. Like, they have to hold Seoul for a certain consecutive amount of turns, and then that can pull China into the game. Because kind of like what I was saying in my turn 12 video, is that North Korea alone on the final turn is already hard-pressed enough to defend the coast against amphibious assaults. Maybe with China in the game, it might help them a little bit more, but that's kind of up for debate. You'd have to try it a couple times to see if it.
South Korea doesn't have to move back into North Korea to win the game. They just have to hold their own territory.
That's true.
They don't have to hold all of their own territory to win the game.
That's true. Yeah, the Allies don't even have to go north of the 38th to win. I'd have to do an actual count of how many each side starts with to see, like, if the Allies only drive here, do they win because they hold the most territory, or is it actually kind of because I don't even think it's an even contest. But that is a good point. That is something too, that at least with getting the North extra troops, so that way they can keep all this contested for as long as possible to at least try and win the game. So yeah, definitely also going to be fixing, at least adding one more concession to how China can come into the game, because they sat out this whole game, which was kind of boring, especially considering that, Airsoft Commando had built up a pretty large Chinese army there, and then he already had 15 infantry deployed in northern Korea. So there was a lot that it would have been interesting to have China come into the game, but we never hit that. We were never able to hit that part of the game where we could actually bring them in.
Did you ever land at Incheon?
No, I never landed in Incheon.
That's irony that should be commented on.
My Incheon landing was here in Chuncheon. So that was my Incheon landing for the Americans.
You still cut off my forces, so technically the same results.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, so like I was saying, we're going on a trip soon, so we're probably not going to start anything. If anything, I'll just keep working on the updates for this game, And then probably when we come back from our trip, that'll probably be what we do next. We'll do another round of this game with our updated rules, and we'll see how that goes. So that is it for now, guys. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are sharing these videos, getting people interested. Like I said, I highly recommend this game. It's fun. It just needs some tweaks. And yeah. So that's it for now, guys, and we'll see you again in the near future. So until then, guys, as always, take care.